When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
Tucker, you are not the father. This has to be wrong!
After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
If it was okay to have anal sex.
No apologies.
You were talking about things that probably you shouldn't talk about.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I finally had my own show!
At one point, your ancestors owned slaves.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, actually.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with your host, Alex Stein, starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to After Hours with Alex Stein. And you know, we have some crazy news. As usual, another transgender shooter is on the loose in Canada. Well, I guess they got him, but we'll get into that. And as well as Donald Trump, I think this is the biggest win of his whole entire term so far. He is stopping the automatic start-stop when your car is at the red light. I'm so excited about that because every time I'm in a rental car and they stop and the engine turns off, it makes me absolutely sick. We're also going to get into a little more Indian love, not hate, Indian love. And we got a lot to talk about tonight. But I want to start off with this trans shooter. Their name is Jesse Van Rootsler. I don't even know they're Canadian, so, I don't know how to speak Canadian. And apparently this 18-year-old who was groomed by his mother from a very young age went to a school and killed a bunch of kids, but also killed their family. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's play Saw It, number 2, and we'll get a little context of this person, but a very sad situation happening in Canada.
I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, in the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female both socially and publicly.
So this transgender shooter killed their 39-year-old mother and their 11-year-old stepbrother. It's just absolutely insane. But if you do any research into it, the mother transitioned Jesse at 12 years old. So Jesse has been transitioning for 6 years on all kinds of hormones, all kinds of puberty blockers, probably, I'm guessing, on SSRIs as well, antidepressants. And this is the result of that. And, our government here is putting in legislation that is stopping these transgender surgeries, but Canada is out of control. Half of the population is Indian, and the other half is basically transgender. And I'm being a little egregious with that, but my point is, this is really not all Jesse's fault. He does take a lot of responsibility, but I blame his mother. She seemed like a woman that was a transgender activist from her posts online, and really and truly, he's a young kid. If you tell a 12-year-old they're born in the wrong body, there's no doubt in my mind that 12-year-old is going to be mentally ill. So, of course, all of the people that died, it is Jesse's fault, but I do believe that the mother takes a lot of blame. And, the mother got shot and killed, so I don't want to come here and just demonize her, but it's always the parents that do this to their children. It's always an adult that facilitates this or enables this kind of thinking, and it's ridiculous. And it doesn't matter how much legislation you put in, there's always going to be sick and evil parents. And for some reason, there's always a trend with transgenders. They're very violent. And I think if there's a person that doesn't respect their own life, then they're not going to respect the lives of others. Let's play Saw It number 4. And this is just kind of giving you a little taste of how trans people think that they should act in public.
Angry. Go out, buy a gun. It's okay to be angry.
Get out of my face now!
If you try to stop me from going into a woman's bathroom,
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
be the last mistake you ever make.
It is ma'am.
Find that anger.
Just because people. Hey!
Harness it to do good in the world. This anger.
Done, man. We can just make a bad say that some of us. Well.
Anger is probably my primary source of motivation.
You want to call me sir again?
The thing is, You don't have to leave.
For everything that I do.
Cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance. It was a call to action or a call to arms.
Don't be afraid to show your anger.
Now, I wish on one of these gambling apps like Polymarket or Kalshi that we could actually gamble on who the next school shooter is going to be, because I guarantee it is going to be a transgender person. You can just watch that video and see that their only response to any sort of kickback is violence. And I was recently at a Texas Senate hearing being very prophetic, and I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy about it, but it's very obvious that these people are deranged. They're out of touch with reality, and they're very impulsive, and that is a bad combination that oftentimes leads to violence. Now, I went and spoke at a Texas public hearing about the bathroom bill that they passed in Texas that outlaws biological males from going to the women's restroom and vice versa. And I think this was a very important bill that got passed, but everything that I said in the next clip that we're going to play basically became true. And I hate that for society. I hate that the next school shooter is more than likely going to be trans, because I believe 7 out of the last 8 mass shooters have all identified as either transgender or non-binary. It's a trend that I see that is going to continue to happen until we stop telling people that they're born in the wrong body. So let's play this clip, and then I'll give you guys a little more context.
Welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Alex Stein. I'm considered one of the sexiest men in conservative politics. And one thing I want to say, a lot of people are going to hear my testimony and you're going to say you're anti-LGBTQ. I want to say that's impossible because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So obviously I have a lot of gay pride. But, you know, a lot of conservatives like yourself, you want to outlaw transgenders in women's sports. I disagree. I like transgenders in women's sports because you can gamble on them and win money. You know, I won so much money on Leah Thomas's propeller in that pool. I almost turned draft kings into draft queens. And, you know, I actually like transgenders in the military, too, because, first of all, transgenders are some of the meanest people on planet Earth, so they'd make a good soldier, don't you think? And then, you know, second of all, transgenders love to do mass shootings. So, you know, that's perfect for a military veteran. And then on top of that, the suicide rate is incredibly high among transgender people, so we could just use them like the Taliban has suicide bombers. Maybe you guys can actually, you know, if you commit suicide, actually help us in the battlefield. So that would be good. So I think we need transgenders in the military and women's sports. Now, when we come to the bathroom bill, though, this is an asymmetrical problem because, first of all, no dude cares if, like, a bisexual woman comes in there and tries to use, like, a pee funnel. You know, if some lady boy comes in there, some, you know, stud comes in there, wants to pee in the urinal, no guy's going to be threatened by, you know, a trans woman. But we don't want these gargoyles in a dress, you know, some chick with a coming in there and trying to pee or poop next to my girlfriend, because that's disgusting. Sadly, I called it. I mean, that was on the Texas Senate floor, but I think if you look at the last few shooters, they were all transgender. And I think if somebody was in Jesse's life that said, Jesse, you're not born in the wrong body, maybe you should go into the military, because obviously this person has a big, you know, they like guns, they like shooting stuff, and there are outlets, if that is something that you're really passionate about, where you could use that in a positive way. So I know a lot of what I said were jokes, but in reality, everything that I said was true. And that's kind of the best humor. That's why you're laughing at it, because the best jokes are based on humor that is real. And oftentimes, when you go and you speak at these meetings, it can be very intense. That was a trans bathroom bill, and the reason that it was hitting the gavel because all the transgenders that were in the balcony were yelling at me for saying this, proving my point exactly, that these people are very impulsive. They're very aggressive. They don't care about what the public thinks about them. They don't care about kind of fitting into society's, you know, normal standards. They don't care about being polite. As a matter of fact, they try to be very impolite. And I think it's attention-seeking disorder, which, you know, I'm empathetic to because I probably have that same thing myself. But at the end of the day, when we see all these mass shootings and we see all these young people that are on so many different hormones or on so many different psychotropic drugs, this is why we're going to continue to see this happen. Even Charlie Kirk's shooter, Tyler Robinson, was a gay guy that was in a relationship with Lance Twiggs, who liked to do furry cross-dressing and look at all kinds of disgusting pornography. So society is only going to get more degraded until we tell kids that they're born in the right body. And sadly, Jesse went and murdered a lot of people, including his stepbrother and his 39-year-old mother. But I think that the mother has a lot to blame with this. And I know that you're an 18-year-old, you're an adult, but imagine 6 years of hormones, the effect that that's going to have on your ability to basically make reasonable decisions. And I think Jesse lost that ability, and that's why they felt like they needed to go do this. And it doesn't excuse the shooting. It just kind of paints the picture and gives it context for what's happening in society. And I hope that I'm wrong, but I think this is going to happen again and again and again until we stop telling children they're born in the wrong body. And if you're a doctor that tells kids that they're born in the wrong body and that you give drugs to them that they don't need, you deserve to lose your license. And luckily we have a good president, Donald Trump, that is making it where it's a lot harder for these doctors to prescribe these life-changing drugs to very young children, especially a 12-year-old. I mean, how can a 12-year-old say or know anything about their future when they're 12 years old? All we cared about, or me, I cared about Star Wars, I cared about cartoons, I cared about just normal stuff. But these young kids in this gender-affirming care is evil, it's demonic, it's satanic, and it's similar to situations in the Bible where parents would sacrifice their child to Moloch. And I think that's what's going on. We have parents that are literally sacrificing their kids to Satan, thinking they're doing the right thing, when in reality, they're punishing a whole other group of innocent people just by enabling this mental illness. So gender dysphoria is a serious problem, and the connection that it has with mass shootings, it really needs to be investigated, and it needs to stop. But until we have a society that tells kids, you're born in the right body, you don't need to change, sadly, I don't think it's going to stop at all. All right, folks, coming up next, we're going to talk about an HGTV host who was fired for saying the N-word. Very spicy stuff. We'll see you after the break.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was a cover-up.
Why would we trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/rev to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
Welcome back, guys, to After Hours with Alex Stein. Now, this next story, it kind of makes me sad, but really, I feel like the person that got fired is not the one that should be blamed. Recently, HGTV's rehab addict queen, Nicole Curtis, was fired for casually dropping the N-word like it's no big deal. Now, listen, I'm not saying that it's okay to say the N-word casually, but my problem with this clip that we're about to play is that this was done not on a live stream. This was all pre-recorded. And then HGTV wanted to virtue signal after the fact and fire her for a clip they wouldn't have to post. They chose to put this out there so that they could get some sort of sympathy from us, the viewer, and then feel like they were virtue signaling and on the right side of history by firing Nicole. So I want to play the clip, and then I want to give you my opinion on it.
It's my last one. Oh, fart. What the is that I just said? Nick, you gotta, can you kill that?
No, I got 35 minutes. I can't kill it.
My life.
Now, Nicole, I mean, my heart goes out to you. She grew up in Detroit, where there are a lot of fart N-words there. I mean, I'm not the one saying it. I'm not going to get fired from my job. But what I'm saying is that was not done live. HGTV could have totally killed that, deleted that footage, and it would have never seen the light of day. But of course, they let it get out there to embarrass her, to shame her, to basically use her as, I guess, this tool to realize that, hey, HGTV's not racist, but we're just going to play a clip of our host being racist when they wouldn't have had to done that. I've worked in reality TV. They don't have to play that clip. So, Nicole, I'm very empathetic to what happened to you. The language that you use, yes, is very uncouth. It's unbecoming of a beautiful woman like yourself. And you shouldn't have said it. And, you know, if you do say that in a live situation, I could see why you'd be fired. But the fact that it was all pre-taped, and as soon as you said it, you could see the guilt just you know, going through her body. She felt very bad. But that's a problem with this modern day media that you watch. They don't care about her guilt. They don't care that she feels sorry. They don't care about the fact that she would probably never, ever say that word again. What they have to do is they have to have a sacrificial lamb. And Nicole, you were the sacrificial lamb. And sadly, you lost your job. I don't know if there's going to be a GoFundMe for you or you can get a bunch of money. I don't know. I mean, I know the last time there was a girl that dropped the N-word at some park, got like $500,000. So maybe you can do that. But your time at HGTV is officially over. So my heart goes out to you, but really and truly, I think the network was totally virtue signaling and could have just swept this under the rug. Nobody would have ever seen it. But instead, they chose to embarrass you to try to prove a point that they are above that, when in reality, they're not. They're not above that. It's not that big a deal. You said the N-word. I mean, it's just a word. We give it all the power. And, you know, should you have said it? No. But at the end of the day, should you have lost your job? It's debatable. I think the network has a lot to blame. But speaking of fart N-word, the next clip is a great clip. Now, this is something that I have to be honest about. There was a time where I lived in Southern California, Los Angeles to be exact, and not my roommate, but the guy that had the apartment across the hall, he used to always kind of wake me up in the morning and say, Alex, let's go get free breakfast. And I'd say, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I stayed at this Hampton Inn, you know, one time, and I still have the key there. And we can go get free breakfast because I have this key. And I'm like, what? This sounds weird. This sounds weird. And I was in Los Angeles at the time. I probably had a little credit card debt. I wasn't doing that great. I think I was 23 years old. He said, we can go get free breakfast at the breakfast buffet. You just flash a key. They let you right in. Nobody asks any questions, and you go straight to the free breakfast. And we ate pancakes, we ate waffles, we ate bacon and sausage. You guys have all had the free breakfast at a, you know, 3-star hotel. It's not that extravagant, but it's not that bad either. Now, this next clip is a family that I'm proud to be similar with, but at the same exact time, the fact that they posted this on the internet proves that they have no shame whatsoever. And I think the only really bad thing about this clip, it's not about the hotel that's losing a little bit of the food, because they always throw out food after the breakfast buffet anyway. It's the impression that you're giving your children that it's okay to steal. That, to me, is just such a bad example to set for young kids. So let's play the clip.
Have you and your family ever snuck into a hotel to eat breakfast? Don't tell nobody, okay? We sneaked into a hotel to eat breakfast. And this is our ending result. Nice, good old breakfast. And look at that pool, though.
It's just that easy, folks. It's literally just that easy. You can go to any Hampton Inn or any of these hotels, a Holiday Inn Express that offer this free breakfast, and just walk in. A lot of times, I don't even check your room key. So I'm not encouraging you to do that. Please don't do that. That is theft. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to throw stones if I live in a glass house. So I've been there. I've done that. I didn't post it on the internet. It was not something that I was proud of. And I think that this set such a bad example for these young kids. In their mind, they're going to think, oh, it's okay to steal. When in reality, they teach you in economics, it's a thing called tin Stoffel. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And there's no such thing as a free breakfast. So maybe Nicole owned one of these hotels and she was sick of these people going and stealing her free breakfast. I don't know. I'm just speculating that. But my point is, I totally understand where you're at. You're hungry. You want the free food. But by going and stealing it, it just kind of sets this bad precedent for your kids where I think that they're going to think it's okay to go and steal. And then, next thing you know, I go out to my car and my radio and subwoofers are stolen out of the back of my Tahoe, which I hope doesn't happen. But this is the problem with society. Just like the transgender shooter, we have bad parents that are not taking care of their kids correctly. And they're giving a bad example to future generations. And those kids are going to teach their kids it's okay to steal. So it's like a domino effect. It only takes one bad parent to create generations of bad grandchildren, children, and the list goes on. So it is a funny clip. And I think that the hotel is going to be fine financially. But there is a bigger picture. You look at the macro, not the micro, not the one breakfast that was stolen, but you look at the big picture. You set a precedent that it is totally okay to steal. And it creates a culture that there's going to be more theft. And we need less theft. We need more safety. And we need the breakfast buffet to be free from theft, from people going in there and just stealing pancakes. It's absolutely insane, but this is the world we live in, where people are just going and getting free breakfast. And I don't encourage you to do it. I know there's some people that are watching right now that don't have a lot of money in the bank, and they're going to go to their next Hampton Inn and go and steal. Be very careful, all right? This is not Ocean's 11 trying to get a dang waffle. Just do not do it. I don't encourage you to do it, but if you are really broke, then, that's on you. Speaking of eating gross food, now this next clip. I've been getting universally crushed by the whole entire country of India because of my recent speech at the Plano City Council, where I talked about part of the Hindu culture is they use horse dung and horse urine for healing properties. They love it. They like it. They think that it's very special. Now, I've heard of drinking the milk, but I've never heard of drinking the urine, and that's a real thing that happens. And I think it's because in their country, they have much less sanitation standards in their country. They don't care about germs. They don't care about trying to be clean. And I think this next clip proves it and really shows you that this is a reality in which their country operates. And then they're all coming here and bringing over that culture. I don't want this culture, because in this next clip, you're going to see rats, you're going to see a dead rat, you're going to see people eating on the floor. It'll make you sick. So if you're on a diet and you're trying not to eat, watch this clip. And if you have food right now, maybe close your eyes. Let's play the clip.
So this is called an Indian mukbang.
Now, those were dead rats next to living rats that they were having a mukbang with in India. Now, I know not all Indians eat like that, but that is a bad example for all of the rest of the world to see, that these people are literally eating on the floor and sharing their dinner with rats. And then they're coming over to America and they're telling us how to operate. They're telling us that we need to assimilate with them. That's the problem, is when you come to America, you got to assimilate with us. I don't want to go get my tikka masala and eat it on the ground next to Ronnie the rat. I mean, this is ridiculous. Seeing this clip makes me ill, makes my stomach hurt. And I think that if you don't have that visceral reaction, then something's wrong with you, because who wants to share their dinner or their lunch with a literal rat? And I'm not talking about the rat in the mafia that, went to the cops and told on you. I'm talking about an actual rat. They're eating that food. I mean, do they not know what a table is? Do they not know what a fork is? Do they not know what a plate is? I mean, it's absolutely insane. And you got all these H-1B visa fraud situations where 33% of the Indians that are in America are actually in the DFW area in Frisco, Texas. So they're all coming to my neighborhood. Listen, I love my Indian brothers and sisters. I got no hate. But if you're coming to America, you need to use a plate. You need to use a fork. You need to use a knife. You got to have some sanitary standards. Not in India. In India, this is the standard operating procedure. So I think that our culture might not mesh with their culture that well. I mean, I've never seen a Chinese guy eating something off the floor. I mean, I've never even seen an Afghanistan guy eat something off the floor. To me, that's a special kind of weird to eat food with a rat. Maybe they worship the rat. Maybe they like the rat pee. I don't know. But seeing that clip really makes you think. And it makes me think that they like to be gross. And they like to have COVID. And they like to have these things. And I hope I'm wrong, but God forbid these people were putting Lysol on their coffees that they got at Starbucks during the pandemic. Imagine an American having to go over there and eat food off the ground. It just wouldn't work. So the people in that video, I'm sure they're already applying for their H-1B visa and their green card. When you guys get here, start using plates, start using napkins, start using silverware. That's how we do it in America, and that's why America's the greatest country on earth, because you're never going to see somebody eating on the ground with dead rats, unless they're strung out on fentanyl, and then in that case, it happens all the time. All right, guys, coming up next, we have Whoopi Goldberg defending the pedophile Roman Polanski, and Lee Zeldin talks about how Donald Trump finally passed a law where these automakers do not have to turn on and off auto switches on every single on all the cars. It's just so great, because I can't tell you how many times I'm at a red light in a rental car and the car just dies. It's a bad feeling. So thank God Donald Trump is actually doing what we voted for.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
When the bacon wants real facts and figures, he goes to Rab. Real America's Voice, baby. That's where you get the real scoop and not the poop.
Hi, this is Becky from the Florida Panhandle, and I love watching Real America's Voice for the programming, the hosts, and my Rad Chat family.
Welcome back to After Hours with Alex Stein. Thank you guys for joining us this Thursday night. We're having a good time, but not as good a time as Whoopi Goldberg is having defending pedophile Roman Polanski. That's right. This classic clip has resurfaced ever since these Epstein files have gotten everybody riled up, rightfully so. And in this clip, Whoopi Goldberg says something really disgusting. She says it wasn't rape, as if a 13-year-old is able to consent to sex. Now, even if a 13-year-old does consent, it's still rape, Whoopi. So I want to play this clip, and then I'll give you my opinion on it, because this is the sad reality of Hollywood. There's a lot of them are pedophiles or pedophile apologists. And I know this is an old clip. Quality's not great. But you're definitely going to get the message that Whoopi does not care about a child getting abused. She cares more about connecting with Roman Polanski and getting clout with Roman Polanski so that maybe one day she can be in a Roman Polanski production. I don't know at the time why she was even defending it, because 99% of people in the world, probably 99.9% of people in the world, would think that it's absolutely disgusting for a man that old to be with a 13-year-old girl. So let's play the clip.
Was not charged. I know it wasn't rape.
Yeah,
there is a
statutory rape.
Child molest, maybe. I'm not sure. It was something. No? It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape. And when we get all the information, somebody will tell me in my ear. All I'm trying to get you to understand is when we're talking about what someone did and what they were charged with, we have to say what it actually was, not what we think it was.
What he said he did. He gave her Quaaludes. He gave her champagne. She was drugged. She was 13 years old.
He asked her, here's a transcript.
That's what I'm saying. You're 13 years old. She was still a child.
Initially he was charged with rape. Go ahead. And then he pled guilty to having sex with a minor. Okay? And he went to jail, and when they let him out...
45 days.
And when they let him out, he said, you know what? This guy's going to give me 100 years in jail. I'm not staying. And that's why he left. So that's why I wanted to be really clear, because I wanted to know exactly what we were talking about.
And I'm going, does that make it okay to instead of staying and fighting, to say, he's going to give me 100 years, I'm out of here?
I don't know if it's okay, but what we were talking about was what he did. And that's what I wanted to clear up. That's all I wanted to clear up, because I don't like it when we're passionate about something and we don't have all the facts.
Whoopi, you didn't clear anything up by saying that it's not rape, when I hate to break it to you, it's rape, babe. If you go and give a 13-year-old alcohol and drugs and pills, and then you have sex with him, that's rape. And I don't understand what your definition of rape is. Even if this 13-year-old consented, statutory rape is still rape. Child molestation is still rape. But this is the Hollywood culture that is ruining society today, is that they excuse this behavior. People like Harvey Weinstein was able to just operate freely and sexually traffic women, and that's why he's in jail, because there's a culture around Hollywood where they think it's okay. They don't value sex. They think it's just totally fine for Roman Polanski, because you're a hit director and have made a few good movies, to go sleep with a 13-year-old. It's absolutely disgusting. And that's why Hollywood is dying, and rightfully so. I don't think Hollywood's ever going to come back, because there was a time and place where Whoopi Goldberg could say this and not get canceled. You can tell by the age of that clip that that's obviously some sort of VHS clip. And, in this modern era, if you said that on a TV show, somebody would clip that and post it on every social media network within 30 seconds. But back then, before the internet was so prevalent, you could say something that stupid and get away with it. But it's just an indication of Whoopi Goldberg's character. She is low moral character. She is disgusting. She is a bad person for even trying to excuse the harm that was done to a 13-year-old. There's no excuse for that. Roman Polanski was an adult. He knew what he was doing was bad. He knew by giving a kid drugs and alcohol that was 13 years old and then having sex with him was bad. That's why he fled the country. Not just because of embarrassment, but probably so he can go operate and do this again to another kid without the fear of prosecution. So instead of standing up against this, you basically enabled it, Whoopi. And I hope that you don't feel this way because you were a victim of child sexual abuse, but oftentimes that's the case. When you see people that are preying on children, they once were the prey for a predator. And so in society, it doesn't matter if you're a victim of something horrible like that, it doesn't give you the right to go be a predator on a young child. Makes me absolutely sick just hearing Whoopi Goldberg saying, it's not rape. Whoopi, are you retarded? It's rape, and it's really bad. And you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because you are a very influential woman, and you really should have been fired right then and there for even justifying this. But sadly, you're probably not going to face any repercussions whatsoever. So I hope that this clip gets to her. So make sure to share this so Whoopi sees it and that she knows how of a disgusting and sick, degenerate person she is for even trying to say that this wasn't rape. I mean, I've never even heard that in my life. All rape is rape, especially with a 13-year-old. All right, guys, now our next story. We just started with a bad one, but we're going to end with a great one. Now, I've kind of been, teasing it all episode, but I drive a 2006 Tahoe on purpose. You're like, guys, you're the pimp on a blimp. I could drive any car I want. But I love an older car because these older cars don't have these stop switches that every time you stop your car engine just turns off. And the reason that they put this in place is because they say that we need it because there's global warming going on. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, global warming, and we can debate about that all day long. I think that, Al Gore made a bunch of documentaries and said we'd be underwater by now. So, he was off with his predictions. But I would argue that, humans can have an effect on, I guess, the world we live in. But if you think that the world is just heating up because we're starting our cars too much in America, why aren't we holding China accountable? Why aren't we holding foreign countries for their pollution? We don't. So this is really a money-making scheme. And these stop switches in these cars make the car have a lot more problems. It's not good for an engine to constantly start and stop, It wastes gas, it wastes time, and it's really hard on these cars. I feel unsafe. I hate when I'm at a stop sign and there's, some homeless guy trying to get, some money from me and the car turns off. I don't even know if it's going to start back up. So let's hear Lee Zeldin talk about it.
Longer will automakers be pressured to shift their fleets towards electric vehicles that are still sitting unsold on dealer lots all across America. And as a cherry on top, we are ending the federal government's push to get manufacturers to install that Obama switch, the almost universally despised start-stop feature. There will be no more climate participation trophies awarded to manufacturers for making Americans' cars die at every red light and stop sign. It's over, done, finished. Under President Trump's leadership, vehicle manufacturers can once again build what Americans want, not what politicians and bureaucrats in Washington demand.
Now, this is what I voted for, Donald Trump. Thank you. This is a win for every American, for the car companies, and that's why I'm a conservative, because I want less government regulation over all industries. Now, I don't want you to make it where it's just totally unsafe. Maybe there can be a little bit of regulations, but the fact that Obama was able to get legislation in that makes it where these car companies had to put these stop switches on cars and just cost us, the consumer, in the long run, it just proves that Obama's an evil person. And he's, allegedly married to a boy. But I don't want to get into all that and Michelle Obama looking like a Chicago Bears linebacker. What I want to talk about is that this will help the auto industry. This will help people have less, fees when their cars break down, because the cars won't break down as much. because that's the problem with these modern day cars. You put more sensors in them, you put more parts in them, you put more computers, and it's just the likelihood of them failing, it increases exponentially. So we need simple cars. We need cars with less technology in them. We need cars with no stop switches, because really it doesn't even affect the climate. That's all a scam. Global warming is a scam. And that's why these major corporations that pollute the most can use carbon credits and just get carbon credits from other companies and pollute as much as they want. But you and I, every time we're at a stoplight, our car's going to turn off. And God forbid we're low on gas and the car doesn't start back up. We got to call AAA. We got to get the thing towed. It's an absolute nightmare. It's not how cars should be engineered, and it stops now. So thank you, Donald Trump. This is what the American people want. This is what I voted for. And this is really what conservatism is all about. Stopping unnecessary government regulation in all industries across the board. So this is a good day, even though there's been a lot of bad publicity lately. This is a big W for Donald Trump. So thank you so much to Lee Zeldin and Donald Trump for taking away this horrible stop switch technology that never should have been put in the first place, all because we're virtue signaling, trying to save the planet by making your car turn off every time you stop the car. It's idiotic, it's dumb, and now it's finally over. All right, guys, coming up next, we're going to talk about a gambler that won some money with the most genius betting strategy that I've ever seen in my life. Now, you know me, I like to play it loose and fast, and I like to gamble a little bit, but I wish I would have the insight that this kid had, because I believe he got rich, but he also got in a little bit of trouble. So coming up next, you want to see that. And we're also going to play a clip of Joe Judge, a football coach at Ole Miss, telling a player that, hey, listen, if you have a kid, the mom's got to take care of it during the football season. You cannot go wake up and change a baby's diaper. You got to be focused on football. It's an insane clip, but you know what? I kind of like it. Coming up next. You don't want to miss it.
We'll be right back with more After Hours on Real American Voice.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
When the bacon wants real facts and figures, he goes to RAB. Real America's Voice, baby. That's where you get the real scoop and not the poop.
Hi, this is Becky from the Florida Panhandle, and I love watching Real America's Voice for the programming, the hosts, and my Rad Chat family.
After Hours on Real America's Voice.
Thank you guys for watching After Hours with Alex Stein on Real America's Voice. Now, I kind of teased these clips earlier in the episode, but I said that if I got to gamble on Kalshi or Polymarket or one of these websites that the next shooter would be transgender, I would bet my whole entire bank account on it. Because I think that there are some sure thing bets. Now, I don't encourage you to gamble. Gambling is a very sketchy situation, and more oftentimes you're going to lose than win. And really, they say the worst thing a gambler can do is win, because every time they bet, they think, oh, maybe I'll win again. Maybe I'll win again. So I really don't encourage gambling. But this next kid, if you have this mindset, maybe you should gamble. Maybe you should be a professional gambler. Because like I said earlier, I would bet the house that the next shooter of a mass shooting is going to be transgender. But this kid picked a different angle. What he did was brilliant. Now, on these apps like Kalshi and Polymarket, they take bets on the most random things, like what color the Gatorade is going to be on the winning coach, who's going to win the coin toss. But one bet that was unusual was how long the national anthem is going to be. And so what this kid did was he went to the stadium during rehearsals and he timed the national anthem so he would know exactly how long it was so that he could go online and place a bet on it. It's brilliant. I love it. These are the angles that gamblers want so bad. And this is what a hustler really has to do to win. Because Vegas always has the advantage. The bookie always has the advantage. But this kid, he got the advantage by doing the legwork. I love it. You're probably going to love it. Let's play the clip.
I'm camping outside the Super Bowl stadium with this listening device for the next few days. Because you can bet on how long the national anthem will be, so I'm going to try to time them rehearsing it and make money. There's no way to know when they'll rehearse it, but I saw a few days before the Super Bowl that Charlie Puth was in San Francisco. So I booked the first flight there and went straight to the stadium. After a while, I knew rehearsal was about to start when I saw these jets.
Got him. We got him.
So I hammered under 117 seconds and waited till the Super Bowl to see if we won.
Shouldn't be no way for me to lose, really.
Can you believe that? That is absolutely brilliant. Now, this kid probably could use his skills to be like an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, but instead he's, a degenerate gambler. But you know what? That's not much different from you and I. And what he did was brilliant. He had the inside edge, and he won a ton of money on it. Now, I don't think that this is technically insider trading. I think this is just him finding a good edge. But there are instances on these websites where people are actually doing insider trading because they know what's going to happen. They know the outcome before they bet on it. But this kid, he did the legwork. Not everybody was going to go invest in themselves and fly to San Francisco and go sit outside of a stadium for hours just waiting and hoping that they're going to do the rehearsal while you're standing out there. But this kid, he put in the work, and he deserves the thousands and thousands of dollars that he won on this bet. And this is a viral clip that everybody should see, because this is what it really takes to win. You almost have to have, some inside baseball. You have to have a tip, or else you're more than likely going to lose. So seeing this, I hope it doesn't encourage you to gamble, because gambling is always a losing proposition in the long run. But this kid's brilliant. I would vote him for vice president in the 2028 election, because we need more people that are just, going out there and hustling. We have so many of these young Gen Alphas, Gen Zs, I don't even know their technical term. They're all so lazy. None of them want to work. None of them want to grind. But this kid does. He went out there and he grinded and he shined it. He did the job and he did it right. And he deserves his victory that I'm sure that he's so happy to celebrate. Because going to San Francisco is not cheap. Flying there, getting a hotel during the Super Bowl when the prices are, exceptionally high. This kid is a true winner. And we need more young people following suit. Not necessarily gambling, but just, there's a saying, if you don't work, you don't eat, you don't grind, you don't shine. Well, that kid's eating right because he grinded right. So I love it. I love to see it. Now, speaking of sports, that was a kid that went and timed the national anthem at the Super Bowl, and that's always the goal for every football player in college, high school. If you get to the NFL, you don't want to just get to the NFL. You want to win the world's biggest prize, and that is a Super Bowl. Now, this college coach, Joe Judge, who's an Ole Miss coach, he was in a court case talking about, I guess, the way that he treats his players. And now you're probably going to watch this clip, and it's probably going to make you feel some sort of way, because I know there's a lot of Christian conservatives that watch this, and I respect you guys. And you probably think, oh, well, a dad should be there to raise their child. And I agree with you on that. But at the same exact time, in this NIL era where these college players are basically pros, getting millions of dollars to be at these colleges, I'm a little empathetic to the coach. I played college football my freshman year at the University of South Florida, and I got absolutely wrecked and got a concussion and, had to end my career very quick, because it takes a special type of person to be even able to play at that level. So this coach is going to hold their players to a higher standard than you and I would be held at our own jobs. Now, let's watch this clip, and before you say, oh, that's so insensitive, I don't know if it's that insensitive, because these people are investing millions in these quote-unquote kids, and if they're just getting their baby mama pregnant and having to wake up every few hours to give it milk or change its diaper, you're not going to have a top-tier athlete. So I kind of like his perspective. Whether it's right or wrong, I can understand it, because the will to win is so important to these guys, and they will do anything to win. And that's the attitude that we need to have. So let's play the clip.
But we would have to educate. This is always a tough conversation to have, and it's not a popular thing, but this is the truth. We would have to educate significant others who may have been pregnant during the season or going to have a baby during the season. And you have to educate them on, you have this baby in the middle of the season. That father has to play good football, right? It's a day-by-day production business. He has to be ready to perform and go out there and play. And when I say that is, you need to let him sleep. He needs to be in another room, detached. You have to explain to the mother, like, hey, listen, he ain't waking up for midnight feedings. After the season, he's full metal jacket. You do whatever you want with him. And he can change every diaper. But in the season, he's got to have a different priority.
Now, like I said, that might seem insensitive, but I love where Joe Judge's head is at. That's what it takes to win. That's what it takes to be a champion. Now, if you're on some lower level college, yeah, maybe you can go feed your baby. But if you're trying to win a national championship, or if you're in the NFL and you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you have to make sacrifices. And you know what? The mom has to step up where the dad falls short. And I'm sure some people are going to see that, and they're going to feel some type of way. They're going to say, man, that is so insensitive. That poor kid is not going to have his dad there to change his diaper. Well, if you're a multimillionaire athlete trying to win a championship, you need your sleep. You need your rest. You put your body on the line every single day. And it's a baby. Is the baby going to remember who changed his diaper? No. So that's why we need more conservative, traditional gender roles in society. Then these professional athletes or semi-professional athletes, the ones that are on NIL deals in college, would know that their baby mom is going to take care of business and not worry about it. I mean, my dad always jokes about how he never changed my diaper once. My mom did. Maybe that's why I'm so screwed up. But listen, I digress. I don't want to get into all that. It's really not the man's job to wake up every second and check on the baby. That's a woman's job. Really, the man only needs to get involved when the boy becomes a little older and really can kind of make decisions for himself. And you got to make sure that you're there to steer that kid in the right direction. But when it comes to midnight feedings and breastfeedings and diaper changes, that's the woman's job. And that might sound chauvinistic, but so what? I'm a little bit of a chauvinist. Deal with it. They're gender roles. But these gender roles, as soon as we start, blurring the lines, that's when you have parents telling kids that they're born in the wrong body. That's when you have people like Jesse Van Rootsler in Canada shooting his 39-year-old mother and going and shooting his 11-year-old stepbrother, and then shooting countless of other kids in school. So I like where the coach's head is at. Now, it might sound insensitive, but gender roles are there for a reason. Men and women are not the same. That's why biological men competing against women in sports is an asymmetrical problem. You're never going to see a woman that transitions to a man going and competing in men's sports. So that is a clear example of women are good at certain roles and men are good at other roles. And in order to have a cohesive unit, you have to play your roles to the best of your ability, but not try to do the other person's role that you're not good at. Now, I know this sounds a little convoluted, but this coach is exactly right. I love it. If you're a superstar athlete, you don't need to be changing diapers. You need to be focusing and watching game tape, getting your 8 hours of sleep, maybe 10 hours of sleep. Let them sleep in a little bit. Take your protein, take your pre-workout, take your post-workout. That's what it takes to be a champion. And we have too many soy boys and too many participation trophy kids that don't care about winning. But if you truly want to be excellent, that is a mentality that you have, that you almost have to ignore your family during the football season in order to be a true champion. Now, another way to be a true champion is to frame max. Now, let me frame max a little bit. This is what it takes, guys. If you want to be the best in your field of work, you have to be totally frame maxed out. You see me? I'm the best host in the world because I got such a big frame. Because I work hard, because I eat, because I'm not changing babies' diapers, because I'm not doing the roles of a woman, because I'm a pimp on a blimp, and I'm not going to do that because that's gay. All right, guys, this episode's been absolutely crazy. I mean, what have we covered? We've covered Whoopi Goldberg being a pedophile apologist. We've covered the transgender shooter that was groomed by their mother to be a girl when they were born with a penis. So if we learned anything from this episode, never tell the child that they're born in the wrong body. It has serious repercussions later on in life, and not even that later. 6 years later, after this mom said that this Jesse Van Rootsler was a girl, when in reality he was a biological boy, a bunch of people are dead now. So we need to be more in tune with reality, take a step back, and stop trying to create these falsehoods and live in la-la land when everything around us, we live in the real world, we don't live in a video game. This is not, just a LARP. You can't go LARP as a girl. If you have a penis, I hate to break it to you, you're a boy. And mental illness is on the rise in this country. And it only gets worse once you give a depressed person, a person with anxiety, medication like an SSRI that's going to make them more depressed and more anxious. That is literally a side effect of those drugs. So let's stop drugging our children and start treating them right by having the baby mama change the diapers and letting the dad go to work or play football. So thank you, Joe Judge, the coach at Ole Miss, for setting the right standard when it comes to being a good dad. Because a good dad is one that provides. And if it makes you provide better by going and being an NCAA champion in football, then go out there and provide for your family that way. It doesn't matter about changing diapers. And as a matter of fact, a little hands-off is better. Then the kid's not too coddled and he's not on a bunch of weird medicine that makes him go insane and shoot up a school. All right, guys, thank you for watching After Hours with Alex Stein. It's a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country.